Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. For today I'm going to be ranking all 10 of my Adept Cosmetics eyeshadow palettes. So if you want to see all of my beautiful Adept palettes ranked, then please stick around for today's video and make sure you are subscribed before leaving today, and let's go ahead and get into it. I have had so many people ask me to do this video and I've just been delaying it because it is so difficult to rank these, and I actually recently have used all of them, that way I could just kind of see like where they stand over time, you know. So let me just go ahead and share with you all number 10. This is the Amunet palette. This is so special, near and dear to my heart, because this was the first palette that Adept Cosmetics ever sent me, and honestly, like, I will always treasure this palette. If I'm being honest, if I ever use this palette, I typically will only reach for some of like the iridescent shades in here, just because their formula has improved so much with time. It didn't age like fine wine. There are a few shades that have hard pan, but it's still going to be a palette that I always treasure. It's not bad by any means, it's just I honestly prefer their newer formula. Next is number 9. This is an Enhydrant. I feel like so many people absolutely love this palette. A lot of people, it's like their favorite palette. The matte formula, like I said, they have just improved it over time. The shimmers are beautiful. Like, they are shifty, sparkly, all the things. I just typically don't reach for shades like this that often. All in all, it has an amazing formulation as far as the shimmer palettes go. Number 8 and number 7, guys. Okay, this is like, I kept flip-flopping on back and forth. But number 8, this goes to the Seahorse palette, which I'm pretty sure they are going to redo this palette come next year, I believe. I think it's getting discontinued, like this version. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure, but I love the packaging. I think it's just absolutely beautiful. And on the inside we have an all shimmer palette. This is beautiful iridescent pastels, perfect for spring, honestly perfect for year round. Typically whenever I reach into this palette, it's just to add a topper on the lid or kind of like something on the inner corner. I never reach for this palette on its own. This is definitely a companion palette, and that's why it came in at number 8. But number 7, this is the House of Elle. Everybody loves this palette because it's iconic for a reason. I do not use this all the time just because it's very bold and colorful. The mattes are not the best in this palette. Some of them have hard pan. They're just not, they don't perform as good as like some of their newer palettes. But the shimmers knocked my socks off. They're so shifty and beautiful. So this palette, it's always special. It's just iconic, and I'm curious to see if they're going to do like a larger version of this in the future. I just feel like they will because so many people adore this palette. Number 6, this is the Cyborg Choir palette. I feel like as far as shades go, this could be number 1 just because like they're so special. But I do not reach for these shades all the time. There are so many beautiful, shifty, holographic sparkle shades in here. Some of these are more textured. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful. It just comes down to I'm not reaching for these fun, bold shades all the time, but when I do, I really enjoy it just because the shimmers knock my socks off every time. And the matte shades are honestly, they get me out of my comfort zone and they're really pretty. It's that newer formulation that I really do like from them. Number 5, this is the Amy Loves palette. I love the packaging. I think that it's so pretty and it just makes me think of like a bubblegum, like girly vibes. It's so freaking cute. And then on the inside you get a Cool Tone Lover's Dream. It's a Cool Tone Lover's Dream with a twist though, because it's not just like a boring gray palette. Some of the, I would say that the mattes are a little repetitive, but with the shimmers you just get so many different shades and different routes you could go. Some of them lean blue, some of them lean purple. You get champagnes, you can get a like super intense foil gold, you can get pink. I love the shade Lights Up. It's just like the perfect everyday go-to shade. Honestly, this palette, for being just like a cool tone palette, you get so many different looks with it. Whenever I was testing this palette, I seriously could not stop reaching for it out of all the others. Let's see, at number 4, this one, the top 4, guys, it was so hard to pick, so just keep that in mind because I feel like if it's a different day it might be flip-flop. But this is the Flying Fiddles palette. I love the packaging. It's cute, and then the inside, it's just like a neutral lover's dream, but it's neutrals with a twist. It's not a boring palette by any means. The shimmers are so beautiful. These aren't like, there's some shifty shades in here like Dahlia, but for the most part these are more wearable, softer tones from Adept, which I honestly enjoy because it's not all the time that I'm wanting like a Cyborg Choir palette. Sometimes I just want to be elevated with my neutrals but not super like shifty, sparkly, and this gives me that. Like, this is just like my comfort zone palette from Adept. If I don't want to think, I just reach for this one. Number 3, this is the Heather Austin palette. This was one of my very first ever purchased indie eyeshadow palettes, and I just praise this palette. It is so beautiful, and it's still with time. I reach for it. I love it. It is absolutely incredible, and it still just gets me inspired. It's so pretty. But this is another one from Adept where if I don't know what to do for the day, I'll just reach for this one because time and time again, it never fails me. It always gives me such beautiful, effortless looks that just take it to the next level. So this is another one that it just has a special place in my heart because this kind of like started it all for me as far as the indie craze. So I like love it or hate it. It just makes me think like if I didn't purchase this, would I even be into indie makeup today? That's crazy to even think about. This was just like a crossroads palette for me, and it completely switched like my inspiration as far as makeup goes. Let's see, number two and number 1, like all I feel like the top, I don't know, 6 were so hard to rank. This one is the Arrow inspired palette. I kept putting this at number 1 and then it kept going at number 2, and I just kept flip-flopping. So this is the Arrow inspired palette. I love the mattes, like they have my heart. They are so beautiful. For the most part, I get like a pretty grungy look because I always reach into this and like pop into these for fun looks. And the shimmers are all so beautiful and shifty and sparkly. Y'all know the drill. This palette knocks my socks off, and every single time I reach for it, I just get a beautiful look. It's almost like never the same look, but it's still like the same version of like that blue green, but with a twist. I don't know. I feel like every time I get this look, it's like I go a different route, and that's why I love it because every time I reach for it, it's always something new. Number 1, this is the Samaran Sunset palette. I cannot believe this is number 1. I just kept going back and forth, and I've had these like in a pile for quite some time, just kind of like because I kept getting people asking me to do this video, and I just wanted to see over time, over a few months, if they kind of still be in this ranking because I have been reaching for them. But this one came in at number 1 just because out of all of them, this is the palette that I reach for the most because I love a fiery multi-chrome, and the mattes in here, they're not my favorite. Like I feel like the Arrow inspired palette or the Heather Austin palette, I like those mattes, the colors, more than these, but the shimmers, they just have my heart, and I do enjoy these mattes. I normally just go for like the 2 greens and like throw a red on top, but the reds in here just get me going. They make me feel inspired. They're so shifty. I love the orangey, fiery tones. It just makes me think of fall when I see this palette, or like a really hot summer day. I mean, guys, you cannot go wrong with Adept. I love all of my palettes. They are so special to me. I have decluttered a few, so if you're thinking of a palette and it's not here, it's because I actually have decluttered it. But I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what Adept Cosmetics palettes you have, and let me know like which ones are your favorite. But that's going to do it for today's video. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're doing well. I hope that you are healthy, happy, and safe. Stay beautiful. Bye, guys.